Live from the City of Angels Sunday morning. You know what that means. Breaking box office across the globe. And we have a runaway smash hit in the multiplexes. Look at the number for Inside Out 2. We are over $1 billion now at 1014.8 billion, or technically million if you look at it that way. You're looking at a film that has done already $469.3 million stateside and 545.5 international. So look at this. This weekend saw Inside Out 2 become the number 11 animated release of all time globally. Only 11 animated titles have now crossed the $1 billion mark. Disney Animation, Pixar titles account for 8 of those. Frozen 2, Frozen, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3, Finding Dory, Zootopia, and now, yes, Inside Out 2. It's the fastest animated release to ever cross 1 billion globally. 19 days is all this thing took. Man, think about where we were just a few weekends ago going, man, is cinema dead? And we are just starting this morning. We have a ton of films in the marketplace performing very well, including Bad Boys just went over 300 million worldwide. So we're looking here now at Inside Out 2, the highest grossing movie of 2024. The only $1 billion film, though that will change, as we know, with Deadpool Wolverine. Also, I would suggest Despicable Me 4 has a really good look at $1 billion. That has already opened overseas. Of course, we do this show from Los Angeles, and we will talk about those numbers momentarily. Let's talk about domestically quickly on Inside Out 2. We saw this film pass Toy Story 3, Lion King, Toy Story 4, and Shrek 2 to become the 5th animated release all time. Number 5 on the list, okay? 4 of the top 5 all-time domestic animated releases belong to Disney Animation and or Pixar. 8th, third best weekend of all time, regardless of film. So that's how we're talking about historical numbers here with Inside Out 2. Internationally, we saw Inside Out 2 pass Shrek Forever After, Madagascar 3, and Finding Dory to become the 18th animated release of all time internationally. Again, this is so early, guys. We're 19 days in. I mean, this film can keep running throughout the entire summer. And why? Because Disney slapped that 100-day window on this thing, which, of course, drives people into the multiplex because they're not going to sit around and wait for 3 months to watch it on Disney+. So this is a major smash hit and exactly what the industry needed. But it's not just about Inside Out 2 this morning. It's about A Quiet Place Day 1, the biggest franchise debut of the 3 films just happened this weekend with a worldwide $98.5 million. Domestically, $53 million here stateside. That's the biggest ever opening domestically. Overseas, 45.5. Again, $98.5 million on this film, which points to this franchise continuing. Obviously, this is something that can continue to explore. You can just keep going with the story that we end up with here in day 1. I just hope that we get a different director. This director is not the right guy. It just isn't. The film looks small. It's one of the more disappointing films of the year, no question about it. So I think now that you have proven success again, you can go out and get someone who can do a bigger scope. I understand that you want to tell a smaller story, but I think we need to get a director who can handle this franchise better than what I just sat through here with Day 1. The demos on this film, 53% male, 47% female. You look at the recommend, decently up there, 59% definite recommend, only a B+ cinema score. That is not great, right? Whenever we look at cinema score, you don't want to fall below an A-. You really want it to be an A because it's so weighted heavily on the top end. So anyone who comes in, every time this happens, I say B+ is not a good cinema score, and someone goes, well, it's a good score in school, it's a B+. It's not the same with CinemaScore. Trust me on this. But you look at it here, according to Paramount, over-indexed in the western U.S., over-indexed South Central, slightly under-indexed Northeast, under-indexed Midwest. Canada came in with a market share of 6.25. The major markets that over-indexed include L.A., Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix, Miami, Salt Lake City, Orlando, Tampa, San Antonio, Las Vegas, on and on and on. The major markets that under-index, this is interesting, Toronto, Boston, Denver, Minneapolis, Portland, and Vancouver. Top theaters come from a broad and diverse number of markets, including LA, New York, always going to be the top two markets. We are the biggest cities in the United States, and we have the most cinephiles here. People go to the movies. Guys, you guys know, down the street from me, AMC Burbank, the number one, typically every single weekend, that is the number one AMC location in the entire world. So, yes, it's always going to be New York, LA at the top, Phoenix, Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. All those markets did well for this film. 39% of box office came from premium screens. That's premium large format, IMAX, Dolby, 4DX, whatever you see that is not the regular laser screen. International, again, 45.5 on 59 international markets. Biggest opening of the franchise in 24 markets, including Brazil, France, Mexico, Spain, Turkey, Colombia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. China opened there, open number 3, $9.8 million. Anytime you get China in on a film, obviously you're going to bump those numbers up because that is a significant marketplace to have. And a film like A Quiet Place Day One should do numbers there, and you're seeing pretty solid result. Let's talk about a film that did not have a great debut this weekend. Straight to the Warner Brothers email. It's all we do here. We go right under the hood with the actual details from the studios. Horizon, American Saga, only $11 million. Guys, tonight it's going to be our big story. This is the worst film of 2024. There is not any debate about that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Tonight's going to be wild on the Sunday Evening Spectacular because this is a film that if you do not recognize absolute awful direction and calibration in film, we need to send you to MMT Film Evaluation School. We're going to destroy Kevin Costner tonight, but we're doing box office. So just hang tight. Let me go through the numbers. I'll be fair here. It did do a better number than Bike Riders, and we said Bike Riders did okay at $10 million. Difference is this film costs more. Now, I understand that Costner paid for the film, and Warner Brothers decided to market it. We're going to talk about that tonight. I'm telling you guys, just a little sneak preview. If I'm at Warner Brothers and Costner brings this piece of shit film and shows it to me on the lot and says, do you want in on this? I'm saying you take this to Netflix. They will think it's good because Netflix don't know shit. We're not taking this thing. This is one of the most bloated, horribly acted films that I have ever seen. Guys, this is truly an abomination of a film. And yet there are people out there, right? The anti-woke crowd. It's great because it's not woke. Guys, we can't do that. If you listen to somebody who talks like that gives a pass to a film because it's, quote, not woke, or because Costner's an American institution, you need to disregard everything they say going forward because they're untrustworthy. They're compromised. We don't play tribal bullshit groupthink here on MMT. Never's going to happen. But $11 million, guys, I had to do a preview of tonight's show. This film, I mean, I'm not, guys, I can't believe I stayed and watched this entire film. Okay, $11 million, which is $32.99. Call it $3,300 per location. Domestic highlights on this. Let's figure out where the top locations are. And again, we knew this film would do well, probably away from the New Yorks and the LAs because it's more of the quote flyover, even though Weber grew up in Flyover, Ohio. That's how we talk about it here on the coast now. Let's talk about the top 10 locations. Here we go. You ready? The Larry Miller Pineview Stadium in Utah. The Santa Coast Palladium in San Antonio. These are all making sense so far. Harkins Scottsdale 101. Harkins Estrella Falls, Phoenix. Regal Warren Moore, Oklahoma, Harkins Camel View in Phoenix, AMC Thoroughbred, Nashville. Well, I've never said these theaters. Every time it's New York, LA, AMC Burbank, Empire, New York, right? No. Okay, we've got the Thoroughbred, Nashville. We've got Larry Miller Sunset Stadium, St. George, Utah, the Schulman Film Alley in Weatherford, Texas. What is this list of theaters? Well, of course, it's Horizon. Let's pray these people understood and comprehended the awfulness of this film. And the Redding, Cal Oaks, Murrieta, Los Angeles. Well, listen, I live in LA. I don't know where that is. Top DNA markets, though, are LA, Dallas, Phoenix, Houston, Salt Lake City. New York's at 6. That just shows you what we're talking about. It's a film that's not going to work in the New Yorks and the LAs as well as it is, as we saw, Utah. Utah is where Kevin Costner is king. And so that's the domestic highlights. The question becomes tonight, we discussed on the big show, you got the second one coming out here in August. Is there going to be any appetite for this? I mean, forget the fact that I think it's the worst film of the century. It's truly an abomination. If I haven't said that now 50 times during this little, introduction of the box office. But here's the deal. I think you have to, as a Warner Brothers, think about putting this directly on HBO Max, because at some point, there's not going to be anyone going to see this film. And I know you guys want to go out there and support this stuff, like somebody who's, quote, anti-woke, someone, pro-America. Listen, I'm as pro-America as it gets. I'm not some leftist, woke, raging guy, okay? But I also am not going to support a film that is as truly wretched as this film is. And we'll talk about exactly why tonight. But guys, we can't do that. We're not going to do that shit. I don't like when people are all about being tribal and not about being objective. And objectively, this is an awful film. I mean, truly, I can't believe he tried our patience with what he just gave us. Bad Boys is over 300 million worldwide. What's interesting on this film is 332, and you're looking at almost identical numbers stateside and overseas. So that is very promising. And I'll tell you, going forward, it's really another lesson that these studios need to not tell everybody when it's going to be on digital. They haven't done that. They didn't really place a window on it, as you know, like Disney did with that 100-day window in Inside Out 2. But still, you don't announce it. You look at Focus under the Universal umbrella saying, hey, guess what? Bike Riders is going to be on Peacock like July 9th. Instantly, you kill the film. It's what we talked about last weekend with these smaller films. You're not going to get people to come out to see a Bike Riders, a Horizon. You shouldn't see Horizon, but a film that feels like you can watch it at home at the theater unless they know they're going to have to wait. Also, let's talk about this before we get into the top 10. Despicable Me 4 is now up to $25+ million. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's only in a few markets internationally as that film opens up here on Wednesday night. Universal's doing some weird shit. They're bringing back that midnight screening. They did this with Mario too, if I'm not mistaken, right? They like to do that old school Harry Potter first screening at 12:01 thing with Despicable Me 4, but it comes out for everybody July 4th. That should hammer the box office and do crazy numbers throughout that really long July 4th weekend next weekend. It'll be a wild one because we have all those days that really act like a weekend day because everybody's off pretty much starting Wednesday on that. Want to mention this, Kinds of Kindness did expand 1.5 million from about 500 screens. Really not a great PTA. 3,000. This film's not going to be a huge hit. I do like this film so much more than I did Poor Things. I recommend this film. I cannot recommend Poor Things. You guys know that. We're not going to do that this morning. Maybe tonight we'll talk about that more. Here comes your box office top 10 here on this Sunday morning, and then I'll see you back here tonight for the destruction of Kevin Costner. He's a wanted man for making me sit through the 3-hour hunk of trash film that is Horizon. Here we go. Number 1, Inside Out 2 it was $57.4 million on the weekend here, just stateside. That was down 43%. Another very good hold at 469.3. Over $1 billion worldwide on that. Quiet Place, day 1. Number 2, $53 million with 14,000 per. Good number. You really want to see, when we start talking about a film that really took off, you're looking at a 20,000 per. So this is 14. So we're under that, just to give you an idea. When we do this breaking boxes, we'd like to give you the full picture, not just tell you, hey, this was the biggest the franchise. Yes, it was strong, but that number wasn't at 20. I really want to see it push, but still, this is the best of the franchise. Great news. Though I do want to mention, part 2 came out during the, quote, COVID years, when we were told you go to a theater and you'll kill everybody you know. Every single person that you know and their friends, and frankly, people they don't even know, people that they just come across and make eye contact with, they're going to die because you went to the movie theaters. Remember that whole thing? Exactly. Here we go, and we have Bad Boys. Horizon, number 3. That is at 3,300 per, 11 million. Not a great. I'm not going to say an outright bomb, because a bomb is like 1,000 per. This is 3,000. Not good. Okay, this is a quasi bomb. And again, I just don't know how you release that second one unless you know that nobody's going to come. This is going to do worse. Number 2 is going to do far worse than this, because no one's going to sit through the second one. If you sat through the first one and you want to see the second one, man, there's something off. You got something off with you, man. That shit's bad. Like, that's not even debatable. I can't even believe some of the tweets we're going to go over tonight. I can't. I got to chill. I'm going to the beach. I'm just going to finish the stream. Bad Boys, as I mentioned, 300 plus million worldwide, equal numbers domestic and stateside, domestic international, 165 million on that here. Kaiki 2898, I believe it's an Indian film. I did not see it, but it did 5,000 per. Not terrible. Also not, out of control. Bike Riders came in minus 66. And you know why it's down 66%? Because what we say, the viewers know they're going to get it on Peacock. It's on the 9th. You only have to wait 10 more days. This is why we told Adam Aaron, you got to put windows in place. Not doing it. Guy gets paid $20 million. I'm here on a YouTube stream on a Sunday morning, Sunday night, whenever we're live, and I'm telling you, I would do that tomorrow. He doesn't do it. You guys wonder why your stock is not popping, because you have an AMC, you have an exec, a CEO making $20 plus million who won't go to the studios and demand windows. And that is unacceptable. Garfield was getting close to 100 million, 89.6. It's over 100 million worldwide. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes still in the top 10. Number 8, down 55%, only 1,000 per screen at this point. So it really, come on. 168 million here just stateside alone. Jat and Julie at 3. What? I have no idea what that is, but it did 10,500 per. Jat and Julie at 3. I missed 1 and 2. Kinds of Kindness does get in the top 10. 1, 5, only. Again, 3,000 per from 485 screens. That's not a huge hit. So at least we're fair here, right? We hammer Horizon and we don't love the film. And we say Kinds of Kindness was not a massive, massive hit at only 3,000 per. So tonight, get ready, because we are going to absolutely nuke and dance on the grave of the worst film of the century, and the fact Warner Brothers decided to release Horizon. If you are anti-woke and you're supporting this shit film, you need to get your priorities straight in life, because that shit's wrong. Don't do that. Do not support garbage movie making. And Horizon is that. We discussed it tonight live on the Sunday Evening Spectacular, live from LA. Weber out. Peace. See you tonight.